10 out of 10, good boy. Arcanine is one of the best fire types currently in the format. It has access to Intimidate to lower the attack stats of physical Pokemon. It has great bulk in its 90 HP as well as its 80 in each defense stat. It gets access to extreme speed to pick off weakened targets. Flare Blitz just absolutely hurts, especially if the sun goes up. Speaking of the sun, it has reliable recovery with access to Morning Sun, and it can spread burns with Will-O-Wisp. So how will its Hisuian counterpart hold up to these expectations? Well, let's jump into the first idea here that I have on my screen, Hisui-Hu. So basically here, I went on to Pikalytics, found the first EV spread, and just comparatively put them in on both regular Arcanine and Hisuian Arcanine. Now, here's a few different things about Hisuian Arcanine. For one thing, we actually lose a little bit of speed in order to gain a little bit of HP, and we lose a little bit of special attack to gain attack. So we have 95 HP, 115 attack, 80 in each defense still, 95 special attack, which is still a solid special attack stat by the way, and it's got 90 speed, which is not terrible. So basically here, it's the difference of 5 points between the two EV spreads. Now, Hisuian Arcanine does have that rock fire typing as well, so it does gain a few new weaknesses here, and it does have two problems that entail with that, and their names are water and ground type attacks. So basically here, with rock fire as a stat or a type breakdown, we have a 4 times resistance to fire. We resist poison, flying, ice, fairy, normal, and bug, which that's really solid defensively, but then we have 2 weaknesses to fighting and rock, and then we have the 2 4 times weaknesses to water and ground. Now, Earthquake is super popular, Headlong Rush on Great Tusk is super popular, water type attacks like Hydro Pump, Surf, they can be a little bit intimidating to this Hisuian Arcanine, but I digress. Between having access to Intimidate and the ability to go for Tera to become either a pure fire or pure rock type, you still have access to play around those things, and then that way you don't have to worry too terribly about Earthquake or Hydro Pumps per se. Now, what I was thinking here was we could try to play Hisuian Arcanine as a standard Arcanine, just using Terastallization a little bit. You can run Extreme Speed if you want, you can run Flare Blitz, you can run Morning Sun and Will-O-Wisp to recover, but unless you want to specifically use Hisuian Arcanine for the sake of using Hisuian Arcanine with this kind of a breakdown, I think you're probably better off going with regular Arcanine, but I digress. You can have a little bit of fun with Hisuian Arcanine, because Hisuian Arcanine does have one different ability to regular Arcanine, and that's its hidden ability, Rockhead. Rockhead prevents recoil damage, so right there, Flare Blitz, you're not doing any recoil damage to yourself. Remember Alolan Marowak? Alolan Marowak was able to do this too. It would be able to boost up its own attack by holding a thick club and then going for absolutely crazy Flare Blitzes and then not take any recoil damage. So we do have that option right there. And another thing too about Hisuian Arcanine is, while you can go with the Intimidate set, you do have Flash Fire that can make you immune to burns because it's just immune to fire type attacks right there. So right there, you're going to gain extra power on your fire type attacks if you get hit with one, and you're going to be immune to it too, so you'll take no damage. And then Intimidate, still great solid ability as well. So let's jump into the first set here, and this is a Rockhead set that I was thinking of. We could go with a full-on Assault Vest to boost up our special defense with that by a 50% boost, and then we can go either Tera Fire or Tera Rock. We can play this on either a Sun or a Sand team. That's the nice thing about the Rock Fire combination right there. It's flexible on what you want to use for the weather. You can run Sand to further increase your special defense by having that Sand active and then boost the Rock type special defense. You can run Sun, which would lower the power of most water type moves, because thank you Walking Wake. You could do that. You can lower the power of most water type moves and then go from a boosted Flare Blitz with the Sun on the field. You have Extreme Speed, you have Close Combat for great fighting type coverage to overall round it out. If you want to go Tera Rock, you could have the rock head right there to make sure that Head Smash doesn't give you that recoil, because Head Smash has a 50% recoil right there. It's a base 150 power move with 80 accuracy, which isn't too bad. It's a little risky on its own, but there is some support that you could play around with that on potentially a sand team or even just a team in general, and that is Sandy Shocks. Technically, it's gravity, but Sandy Shocks gets gravity here. I'm pretty sure it also gets screens, but what you do with the gravity here is it makes the accuracy of moves go up right there. So now Head Smash is going to be a little bit more reliable with the accuracy. Because right now you're at a base 80 accuracy, and gravity will go and put your accuracy up by 1.67 times. So if you did the math right there, I've got a calculator off screen here. So we have 80 right here, times that by 1.67. You're going to be over 100. It does work out to be 133.6 right there. So your head smashes are going to be super reliable, accurate wise, with that gravity up. On top of that, if you want to run a support with your Sandy Shocks, you get Reflect. I'm pretty sure it gets light screen too. So what you could do if you wanted to is, Sandy Shocks is naturally faster than Hisuian Arcanine, but if you wanted to take it one step further, you could slap a booster energy on it, and then that way you will automatically activate your Photosynthesis, especially if you're playing with this on a sand team. Max, just lower your, make sure you lower your special attack so that it's under your speed points. You get that speed boost right there, and then you can have either, like, say maybe Volt Switch to get out of there, Earth Power. You don't necessarily have to have your screens. You could take out 1 or 2 screens right there. Actually, if you're playing on a sand team and Arcanine's already getting that, you could maybe make the case for going for Reflect, but you could just go Earth Power and then maybe even just change the Reflect off and then put, like, maybe say Protect. You do have that option as well to have a little bit of support for a reliable head smash with Sandy Shocks. As far as other gravity mons go, let's take a quick look at that. So you get Blissey, probably not going to be seeing much of that. You get Bronzong, which that wouldn't be out of place on a sand team. Stonejourner. A Stonejourner would be interesting because Power Spot does give you a little bit of a boost as well. Interestingly enough, Wigglytuff gets it, but it's super slow, so I wouldn't recommend that. And then you're getting into your little cup stuff. Like, you got Happiny, you got Igglybuff, you got Bronzor, you got Jigglypuff in the not fully evolved category right there. So really, Sandy Shocks is probably your best option for gravity, maybe even Bronzong or an Eviolite Chansey. So yeah, you could do that. Have that gravity support, and then that way you're reliably hitting your head smashes. At Tera Rock, having double stab on that, you're at base 300 power. That's wonderful. Like, that's really wonderful. On top of that, you have extreme speed to pick off anything that might be a little bit faster than you, that might have just barely held on from a head smash. The one thing working against head smash, though, aside from its accuracy outside of gravity, is it's only 8 PP. So you would run out of that rather quickly there, but then again, it's not really about how many rounds you have, it's just how accurately you land those rounds. On top of that, you got Flare Blitz, great fire type coverage. You can get around steel types with that. You can get around grass types. You have close combat to just absolutely decimate things as well. Like, you're weak to rocks naturally, so you have the close combat to deal with that at the cost of a little bit of defenses. And like I said, you have the extreme speed, so unless Psychic Terrain is up, which that's not the end of the world, because, you know, there's plenty of Ice Spinner mons out there as well. If you wanted to run like Chien Pao next to this thing with Sword or Ruin, you could have some good fun with that, where Chien Pao would typically likes to run the Focus Sash. You wouldn't have to worry about like having a Focus Sash on this Arcanine, because you can have the Assault Vest to have your special defense boosted instead. Now, the nice thing too is you could also go for a slightly different idea. You can go Loaded Dice with the Hot Doggy here, because you have Flame Charge to increase your speed. You have Flash Fire. Flash Fire would make you immune to fire type attacks, in addition to increasing Flame Charge's power, which we don't really care about that. That's just kind of a nice added bonus. We're getting a speed boost. Now we can go for Rock Blasts. Yeah, we can go for Rock Blasts. And also, on that note too, like, we have that 143 right there. 1 Flame Charge, you're faster than Dragapult. And then don't even get me started if you have like Tailwind on the field. You're losing a bit more on bulk, because this is going to be more of a straight up offensive set here with the max attack investment, and then just divvying it up. Like, I have the 179 right there, and then just splitting the rest between the defense and the special defense right there. So just a rough idea for what we can do stat breakdown wise. And then also we have a howl set. We have Flare Blitz, we have Protect, we have Extreme Speed, Rockhead again, because basically what we're going to do is we're going to go for Howl, raise our own attack stat, or we can have Howl on a support mon, like say Screamtail, increase our attack stat. Now we have priority Extreme Speed at +1, we have Flare Blitz at +1, we're not taking any recoil from that. We have Protect to save ourselves, we have the Citrus Berry to recover back some HP, and what we could do is we could do something like the original Arcanine EV spread that I had on that first comparison set. We could do something like the Hot Dog, have 68 points into it to bring up to 179. We could do like this Headbutt set, which I didn't really touch on that, but what I was thinking there was we can go for just putting some random bulk in here, bring up our stats to 110 in the defenses. Don't necessarily have to do that. You could go like maybe say more on the special side where you want to run the Assault Vest, or you could run the more HP investment, like maybe bring this down to like say 4, bring that up to 191 or 189 per se. So it's really flexible on what you want to do EV wise onto Arcanine, especially for this one where you're going to be boosting up your own attack stat. It would probably still be nice to have the Adamant nature. Maybe what we can do here is go for that's taking more than I realized. 1 second. Oh right, it's because I have a Jolly nature. So maybe we go Jolly. Maybe we go for the Jolly nature here. We bring this up to 143 per se. We technically don't even have to because we have the Extreme Speed and the Howl, but we could go up to 143 depending on what our Tailwind is like. We have the attack investment. Maybe we'll go to 166, and then we can dump the rest into maybe our HP and defenses, go up to 179, and then maybe go 4 and 36, just for the sake of an example. Maybe that's what we do for this. We go for our Howl. We hit our +1, so that's a 50% boost to 166 already. So right there, we're going to be quickly doing a lot of damage with either the Flare Blitz or the Extreme Speed, especially if you want to factor in Chain Pow. Maybe if you didn't want to run Howl on the Arcanine itself, maybe you want to run Screamtail, or maybe you want to run it on both. Like maybe you want to run Screamtail with Howl and Hisuian Arcanine with Howl, go for a double Howl on a turn, or maybe have Screamtail set up a screen and then go Howl with the Arcanine, and then that way you can get the attack boost. You can run Rock Tomb on Screamtail. I'm being weirdly specific with this because one, I ran into this in one of the international challenges, and then, or I ran into it during one of the global challenges on the online tournaments, but I also tried this on Battle Spot as well, and I thought it was kind of fun with Dragon Bolt, so I wouldn't mind trying this with Hisuian Arcanine when it goes live too. So yeah, anyways, tangent aside, let me know what you guys think of Hisuian Arcanine, regardless of whether it's Rocky or normal. It's still a good boy, 10 out of 10 good boy. Yeah, let me know what you think of it down in the comments below.